Hello, I'm Athenian200. I've been looking into volunteering positions recently, and I finally got an interview for one. It's with a hospital that's nearby. Well, I scheduled it a while back, but I didn't talk about it because I wasn't sure I was going to get the position or anything. I mean, because they have a whole interview process. Yeah. Well, I had an interesting experience with the buses today. I looked on Google and I had trouble understanding the route they gave me because it was too roundabout. It didn't look very direct. Yeah, so I ended up trying to figure it out as I went along, and well, apparently the funny thing is that the way the rail is set up, I had to take one in the opposite direction of the hospital and then come back the other way. That's why Google wasn't giving me directions that made any sense, apparently. So, that worked out pretty well. Let's see. I actually ended up getting there an hour early because I was worried I was going to have a hard time with the buses, and I had to wait for a while. Yeah, I have a habit of doing that. I always show up way too early. Yeah. And while I was sitting in there, I happened to hear a really sad story about something happening to a friend of some guy, and this is embarrassing, but I ended up sort of silently crying a little bit. I didn't notice I was doing it till I had a couple of tears. I mean, I don't think anyone noticed, but yeah. When things like that happen to people and I hear about it, and I can, yeah. I think it was I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know it was bad. Yeah. Anyway, after I'd waited there for a while, the interview started. And they started asking me questions. I had filled out the forms while I was waiting there, of course, because I showed up in plenty of time to fill them out, of course. Well, they asked me when I would be available to work, and I said I would work every day because, well, I've got nothing better to do, of course. I didn't say that part, yeah. But when they asked me why I wanted to volunteer, I told them it was to help, to have the satisfaction of helping people, and then later on they asked me if I had any other reason, and I said because it's an achievement and I want to be able to say that I've done that. And then they mentioned that I could put it on my resume. I think maybe I'm not sure if they were telling me that because they thought I didn't know it, or whether they were trying to let me know that they knew my real motivations or something. Anyway, yeah. And then another thing, they asked me why I chose that particular hospital. And, well, the first reason I came up with was, well, because a hospital helps people out and everything, and, well, and I also mentioned that it was close to where I lived, and I also, the reason for that specific hospital, it was because of the fountain out front. It kind of impressed me. And I remembered seeing it when I was younger, when I was 3 or something. Which is actually kind of yeah, so I ended up telling him that was the real reason. It was. Yeah. I know that's kind of a silly reason to choose a particular hospital, but, well, I didn't really have anything else to go by. Yeah. So, well, and they asked me what kind of work I'd like to do, and I said that I would, that I'm most comfortable with computers, but that I would do any kind of work they wanted me to do, because I will, right? But they said that they thought that they had plenty of positions working with computers that I could perform at the hospital. So that worked out really well. They said that they don't know where they're going to place me yet, because she isn't the person who does the placing. In fact, I interviewed with somebody who doesn't normally do that because the normal person was busy. But they said I did really well in the interview, and they are giving me the volunteer position. Thankfully, I think it's not as difficult to get a volunteer position as it is to get a job. I mean, it took me a while to get the interview, but yeah, I got it. Yeah. Let me see. Next thing they told me was that I was supposed to get a TB test. I knew I was supposed to get that, but I forgot I was supposed to schedule it until the 19th, and they're not there on the weekend, so I couldn't schedule it, which means I'm going to have to wait till April 12th for my orientation. You see, because the next one's on March 23rd, and apparently it takes them 48 hours to turn around on that test. Yeah, I don't know why I forgot about it. I guess it just didn't occur to me to schedule the test, because honestly, I wasn't sure they were going to take me seriously at the interview anyway. I thought I wasn't going to get the position, so I guess that's why I didn't really think about the test, I guess. Anyway, the last thing that I'd like to share was I actually didn't know exactly where I was going when I started out, but I asked a couple of people along the way how to get to the place, and they told me. I mean, they were surprisingly, the people on the way on my bus route were very helpful. I mean, one time I even stopped and looked at the rail map to try to figure out where it was taking me, and some guy came up and told me where to go. So it looks like I don't have to worry too much about knowing exactly what I'm doing before I do something. That's kind of reassuring, I guess, because I always kind of thought you wouldn't be able to manage if you didn't already know what you were doing before you set out to do it. Well, anyway, bye everyone. See you later.